Welcome to VT channel. Now let us have the discussion on the selection process. So in the earlier discussion we understood that recruitment is the process of identifying the apply for the job or the vacancy in the organization. We called it as a recruitment. Now the next continuation task with respect to the recruitment activity is the selection, where in the selection process we are going to scrutinize the applied individuals who have applied for the position in the organization. So with some selection criteria, we are going to filter and identify the best potential candidate to get into the organization. It is the selection activity, the process by which management choose from a pool of applicants who are most likely to meet the criteria of the job vacancy. It is the selection activity. It is the part of systematic process of staffing an organization. So it is a systematic approach which is going to calibrate the applicants who are having the multi skills with their profiles in their resume. So that will be properly diagnosed. Identification of the best potential individual through the systematic approach of selection will be done and will be inducted into the organization. So it is a process of staffing an organization. Selection starts with the recruitment. All the times whenever you want to take up the selection, so it starts with the recruitment, where you are inviting the potential applicants, and in the selection process you are eliminating the non-performing or non-qualified candidates from the process. So it is the selection. Selection involves deciding who from the pool of applicants gets the job offer. So job offer, it is the final selection of opportunity given to the applied individuals. So in the recruitment, one way we say it is a positive activity where inviting the applicants, where selection, it is a negative kind of activity where it is eliminating the non-performing or the unqualified candidates from the process and identifying only the right candidates who are, as per the process of job vacancy, will be selected into the organization. So this is the selection activity. So here in the selection procedure, so various steps that we practice to identify the right candidate from the pool of candidates who have applied during the recruitment process. So first one is application blank or the biography, which we used to call it as resume. Even sometimes we say the curriculum vitae, CV. The curriculum vitae or resume, it is the first step in the selection process where whoever be the potential applicant who is applying for that particular position available in the organization through recruitment activity, he is supposed to submit a resume or curriculum vitae which is going to give a complete information related to the potential applicant about his personal information, about his educational qualifications, about his skill sets, and about his experience, if any, and the responsibilities that have been taken up by him in the earlier organization, and the years of experience, and the kind of rewards and recognitions that he got, and as well as the previous salary that he was drawn in the earlier organization. All this information is supposed to be furnished in the application or the resume. So that's the first step. Then once we get this particular resume with us, we will be going to carry out some kind of employment test, where under this particular employment test we will be going to have the ability test, the personality inventory. So first one, ability test, where we will be going to identify the potential abilities of the individual who possess the required qualifications or required skills. That will be understood through an aptitude test or the achievement test. Aptitude test, which is going to talk more about the logical reasoning as well as the logical attitude of the person. Like suppose if a situation is given, how fast and how speedily he is reacting to the given situation with sort of calculative approach, computing approach. So that will be understood through the aptitude. Then achievement test, a task will be given and he will be asked to execute that particular task and exhibit the result within the given time. So through which the achievement test will be made. Most of the times in the campus recruitments also, you are experiencing the aptitude as the written test followed by coding test whenever a company is recruiting the software professionals. So it wants to identify the coding skills and abilities of the individual. Through aptitude, they are going to identify the problem solving abilities of the candidate, and in the achievement test, so the coding skills that they are going to analyze, through which they are going to assess and understand about the capabilities and competency levels of the individual. So these are the employment tests. And in addition addition to this, we have the personality inventories. Personality inventories related to the personality test. Personality test with respect to the physical characteristics like the height, the weight, the vision, or any other kind of the physical fitness requirements that are needed. So those particular things will be identified through the physical test. And interest inventories means the hobbies, the inherent skills, or the best potential abilities of the individual with related to the other areas other than the job. So those particular things will be identified through the interest inventories. And from there we move to the third stage. So it is the employment interview. So here this employment interview where we will be going to conduct a process of selection through some kind of approach. So this approach may be in the verbal format, or maybe in the non-verbal format, maybe in the oral format, or maybe in the written format, or sometimes it may be combination of all. And this employment interview that will be divided into three sub areas: structured interviews, semi-structured interviews, and unstructured interviews. So structured interviews in the sense, so the interview process is going to be very structured in nature. So the order of questions, they are the order of identifying your abilities, everything is going to be in the predefined order. Where the structured interview, where the interview may be with a structured approach like a kind of questionnaire, where this particular questionnaire will be of once again two internal subways: open questionnaires as well as the closed questionnaires, or we say the open interviews or the closed interviews. Where in the open interviews only the question will be asked and the candidate is expected to answer for that particular question. Whereas the closed interview, along with the question, the interviewer is going to give you the clues, and by using this particular clues or the choices or the alternatives, you have to identify the right choice which is going to be fit into, that is a closed interview. So these are the structured interviews. Then semi-structured means we are going to have a set of questions in a ordered format and other questions are in the non-ordered format. So this is the semi-structured. And last one is unstructured, means there is no proper design of the interview process, and as and when based on the process of interview, the interviewer is going to pose the questions and asking the individual or the candidate who is attending the interview to perform according to the given question. So this is the unstructured approach. Like this, we follow various selection criteria or the selection procedures. So first we supposed to have the resume or CV with us. Then we supposed to take up the employment test, where one is the ability test related to the aptitudes or the achievements, followed by the personality test, and from there we will move to the interview process. And generally this interview could also be done in the other ways. One is the behavioral interview, situational interview, individual interview, group interview. Behavioral interview, where we will be going to identify the behavior of the candidate, how he is understanding the problem and behaving, means reacting to the situation. So this is the behavioral interview, particularly for kind of positions where amount of stress will be more in such kind of job profiles. So we prefer the behavioral interviews, where once a situation, a challenging task is given, how he is understanding and analyzing and reacting to that particular situation. So the behavioral attitude of the candidate will be analyzed through the behavioral interviews. Next one is situational interview. A situation will be presented to the individual and asked to make as a role play. Like suppose, so you yourself will be given as a profile like a sales manager, and how you will be going to achieve the given target within given constraints. So the situational interview. Then individual interview, most of the times we used to call it as the personal interview, where one-to-one, only interviewer and interviewee, only two people will present in the process, and interviewer may be using either the structured or semi-structured or unstructured process of interview, and he will be identifying the potential abilities of the individual through the individual interview. And last one is about the group interview, where a group of people at a time, maybe 2 or 3 or sometimes based on the situation, some 4 or 5 people will be asked to perform on this. Particularly, like suppose if you can take it, the activities like the group discussion, where if you want to analyze the communication and leadership abilities of a group of people, and we frame them as a group maybe 10 or 15 in size, and a task or a topic will be given, and students, individuals or the participants will be asked to represent that particular talk on that particular topic topic and try to present their views. So how they are understanding the topic, how they are analyzing that particular topic, and how they are presenting that particular topic and others to follow. And at the same time, even like suppose if you want to understand the leadership qualities of the person who wants to project himself, so how effectively he is analyzing the point, at the same time he is giving an opportunity for the others also, and how he is listening to the others and leading the team. So these kind of abilities that will be understood through the group interviews. So this is about the selection process. So here in the selection process, so we understood that once the recruitment activity is completed where the potential applications are invited from the individuals, so from there we are going to make the elimination process by delisting the candidates who are not meeting the required standards with respect to the qualifications or with respect to the skills through different selection criteria, and from there we are going to identify the right candidate with the right qualities of skills to handle the job, and he will be inducted into the organization. So this is about the selection activity. So this is the end of selection activity. Thank you.